How's it going, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. Today on the docket, we have Matt Sharpe, who is a Canadian Olympian from 2022. I believe he was in the Commonwealth Games for, I can't remember, I think it's 2016. Don't quote me on that. But other than that, just super quality guy, getting to hear a little bit of his story of how he grew up, been doing triathlon since he was 10 years old. He shares stories about how he met his wife, Kirsten, talks a little bit about her Olympic trials that are coming up for Paris in 2024. Yeah, it's crazy that's already coming back around. But we talk about a lot of stuff. Identity, his placement in the PTO race, the mishap with his zipper at 70.3 main. But all in all, even if you're not a triathlete, this is a great episode of just hearing about determination, the hardships that we don't think about whenever doing crazy stuff like the Olympics. He had some crazy experiences with bad coaches and stuff. So without further ado, just want to introduce to you Mr. Matt Sharpe. Also, this episode is brought to you by Trax Fitness Wear. Check them out in the description below. I have a good friend, Connor Callahan, who has launched this company. They launched these shorts. He's went through tons of different samples that he made or had made to kind of find and deliver this end product. So go and check them out. They have a size medium and large. I think they have female as well. They need a small, but they are awesome shorts. I've heard firsthand from many people. So go and check them out. Thank you so much to Trax for sponsoring today's episode. Well, thanks so much for jumping on. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. It's been kind of a cool journey getting to start this podcast. Just the overall attitude from so many people in the industry has just been super accepting. So that's been like one of the coolest things ever. I think that comes with the growing of a new sport. But again, just thank you so much for coming on and looking forward to getting to talk some.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So I guess to kind of start off just a little bit, if you were to introduce yourself to someone, and how would you do that? Like, who is Matt Sharpe?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the person, but just Joe average off the street. My name's Matthew Sharpe. I do triathlon professionally. I've been to the Olympics, World Championships. Racing at the highest level of long course racing now, which is for most people who don't know triathlon, not going to Kona, but
yeah,
a similar vibe. But yeah, also just I love the sport, love triathlon. My wife also competes at a very high level. She's a Team USA athlete. Her name's Kirsten Casper, and she's trying to make the Olympic team.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool, man. So where did you grow up?
So originally from Vancouver Island in Canada, on the west coast there. It's near the city of Vancouver, just off the coast. So yeah, definitely grew up near the ocean and, a bit more rural, I guess, upbringing for me. But now I live in Boulder, Colorado, the classic, the
for
cliche
sure.
for triathletes.
Yeah, lots of triathletes out there. When did you move to Boulder? Was it before the professional career?
Yeah, so we moved down here in December 2021 after, I'd done the Olympics. We were looking for a good base for Kirsten for her next, Olympic campaign. And for her, this was definitely the best place to be. And so, yeah, I've been down here in Boulder. And obviously, a lot of folks are here for a reason, triathlon-wise.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've definitely discovered, how awesome it is to train here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Canada's beautiful, too. I've been up there in Vancouver area.
Nice.
In British Columbia. It's, oh, man, what a beautiful place to live.
Definitely. It's I definitely miss the ocean, for sure.
Yeah.
Not the same vibe here, for sure, but still very beautiful.
Yeah. And growing up in Vancouver, did you have siblings there that you grew up with, or your only child?
Yeah, no, I have an older brother. We both did kind of same stuff, swimming, different sports growing up, soccer, all that good stuff. And then when we were maybe getting into teenagers, we kind of, I guess, like had divergent paths where I took down the sport route and he went down kind of more arts and stuff. He was the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. My brother Jeffrey. And actually, it's funny now, we're both working together on kind of like a triathlon media venture. Right now we're doing, it's a newsletter called the Tempo News. And I've been working with him on that since last November. So getting close to a year. And yeah, it's been really cool. Like that's what he does for a living. He's in media and all that kind of stuff. And so it's been cool for me to, work kind of alongside him. You know, I talk to him almost every day now. through this. So yeah, we've got a cool little venture going on, and it's just a lot of fun to learn from him and work with him.
Yeah, for sure. So I was going to ask about that with the Tempo News. That's how I actually got to know you a little bit, just to
Nice.
start off. What was like the initial start of that? Was it like, hey, let's go start this thing? Or was it kind of you wanted to just keep track of things and you were writing your own newsletter for a few friends? Or how did that all come about?
No, but I mean, yeah, those are all interesting ways to go about it. But literally, because I told you, like my brother, he does these newsletters. That's kind of what he does for a living.
Yeah.
And he was always, for a while, he was like, oh, we should do one for triathlon. Like, it really makes sense. And, I was kind of in the thick of, my Olympic qualifying, and that was, my big focus. And then kind of after that, it just kind of came this time where I was kind of like, well, I haven't finished my education. And that's the sacrifice I had to make to,
Sure.
Pursue sport at the highest level. So for me, having something that I can gain obviously tangible skills like, copywriting and dealing with clients, I write ads now, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So that was kind of a big goal of mine, was just to have something, even if it didn't work out, I have employable skills, put it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, for sure.
So mission accomplished for the most
Yeah.
part, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so much experience to be gained. How long have you been doing Tempo News? You said November?
November last year, end of November last year. So
Okay.
getting closer to a year for sure.
Yeah. So when
Yeah.
you started, did you have a specific goal, maybe a specific metric you're shooting for? And like, how's that been going?
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, I think with sport and in kind of business and stuff, it's always good to have focus, I think, more on like process goals. Like in training, you're trying to hold, good technique during a hard interval or something, instead of just always going for like this like external like time or power or whatever. So with this, again, it was just like, hey, I want to, gain skills, real life skills other than swim, bike, run.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously you want to grow and enjoy, growth with your adventure or whatever. But I think by having these kind of process goals and trying to build my skills, it's just kind of helped the growth occur.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, no specific like North Star, like we need to get to,
Yeah.
1,500, blah, blah, blah. Like you have those kind of goals, but that's honestly not necessarily what I'm focused on day to day.
Yeah.
It's more like the process, like in training.
Yeah, for sure, man. You mentioned a little bit some of the parallels between like work life and how training can be, I guess, assimilated to the kind of stuff that you're doing in building any type of a business. So I'm curious, and I have my own experiences with this, but with training specifically and what you do in the sport, how have you found that has shaped and molded the way that you think and attack any type of real world problem?
I guess for me, it's like I've always known sport. I've always been in that world. So for me, kind of getting into the real world a little more. I hate saying like real world to like devalue what I've done.
No,
before,
man, it's
but
a dream.
But
Yeah.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I think it's just those lessons, those classic lessons of like persevering through hard times and dealing with adversity and just having little goals along the way and celebrating those little goals and wins. I feel like I don't know, like the business stuff, it's hard, obviously training's hard physically and the work stuff, I guess there's definitely a lot of opportunity to be creative. So there's like a cognitive load that I'm maybe not used to and getting more used to and kind of like, like with training, you're refining your processes all the time and finding what works best and what doesn't. And I'm getting a lot of that with this, work stuff with the tempo, what is the most efficient use of my time? How can we refine our processes to, be better and continue to make a product and a thing that people are enjoying. And, we get good feedback from our readers, good and bad, which is great. Sure. So just taking that feedback, like in training, you get the numbers, you get the, all that kind of stuff and taking that in and then, working with that.
Yeah, for sure. How many subscribers to the newsletter do you guys have right now?
Yeah, so we're just over 7,000 now.
Nice, man. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And we're growing at a pretty steady clip. So, it would be nice, like you talked about before, any specific like goal. I guess like, the next goal is like hitting 10,000. That's a nice round number. Will my life materially change if we hit that? Yes, definitely. I'll be a billionaire. No, I won't. It won't change at all. But it's just, it's definitely nice having those kind of big round numbers to
for sure,
to push for sure. But just having a good process, we'll get there without too much trouble.
Yeah, for sure. In designing, I just want to keep on the Tempo News for a second longer because I have some questions. What software are you using to kind of build the email and send it out? Using like MailChimp or something else?
Yeah, it's called Beehive. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I wasn't familiar with any of this stuff before, so I may sound like I know what I'm doing. I really have no idea.
That's the beauty of a founder right there.
My brother is Jeffrey is he's the kind of brains, and he brings in all the different software and stuff into play. But yeah, Beehive is the platform, the newsletter platform we use, and it seems very user friendly and kind of tailored towards growth. So I know there's other options like Substack, and like you said, MailChimp, but Beehive, we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm curious because you mentioned money part of it a little bit, and this might be a little bit of a stupid question, hence the name of the podcast. But so I've talked with some pros at varying levels. It seems to me that like the top, maybe let's say the top 50 can make like a decent living in this sport. You're sitting right within the top 100. I mean, according to the PTO, however you care about that ranking or not, it's whatever. Do you find that, like, with the Tempo News, you hope one day that can kind of be a supplemental income situation, or are you able to kind of make the living that you want to off the sport at the moment?
Yeah, no, it's definitely getting to that point. We're kind of at an interesting point where, like, the Tempo is, like, kind of taking off that way. Maybe a bit more time, it'll get to where that kind of is happening, but then at the same time, the racing, it's competitive out there. We gotta fight for every position. Things happen in racing, and so you're trying to make it work as best you can. And I feel like I'm very close to kind of almost making it work. I would say at the moment it's not working. And so we'll see at the end of the year. Every year, I kind of reassess and be like, does this make sense? And I think after last year, that's partly why I, went full on with the Tempo, was because I was like, hey, I need to think about my future and blah, blah, blah. Looking back on that decision, I'm glad I decided to pursue it, because at the end of the day, say at the end of this year, I'm like, racing doesn't make sense, or I don't enjoy it, or whatever.
Sure.
I've definitely gained a lot of, it's been worth my time doing the Tempo with the skills and whatnot, and connections I've made as well.
Yeah, for sure. What's your favorite connection you've made so far?
I think, honestly, just all the people who comment, who, I think it's just like all the readers who, chirp in, chime in, and I get to learn about them a little bit. I'll ask them, what races they're doing, and it's kind of fun just to, learn people's journeys, and, it's why we follow people, a lot of times on social media and stuff. It's fun following people's journeys, and I'm really enjoying, getting to know some of the folks who are subscribers to the newsletter. Like, at a lot of these races now, I'm meeting people who are readers who, like, I wouldn't have really been able to meet them otherwise. So it's been super exciting and really rewarding that way for me.
Yeah, I do. I really admire and want to point out that you kind of gave that little bit of tidbit about you ask what races you're doing. Because when you first reached out, I don't remember what it was exactly. I think you may have liked something of mine, which I was shocked. And then I messaged you. And I was like, hey, thanks so much. And then you showed interest by asking what races I was doing. And that really stood out to me because I had nobody else of your caliber ask such a question. So that was that's a really cool thing.
We're all triathletes, we're all triathletes.
Yeah.
What are you racing? You got any races on the horizon? What's going on with stuff?
Yeah. So I got Ironman Wisconsin
nice.
In like 4 or 5 weeks. Just doing like the 5 to 7 hour bike rides and getting all the long stuff in. But the hope is to qualify for my elite card at that race.
Awesome.
We'll see how it goes. So
no, I hope. Have you been healthy? Body's been good.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I've had a few breakthrough races this year, the 70.3s. I think where I really have the opportunity to shine, just getting into the sport a little bit later, is the long course stuff.
Nice. Good. Well, good luck in Wisconsin. I mean, doing Ironman's crazy. So a lot of kudos to you for doing the challenge, because I haven't done one. I don't know if I'll ever do one, but I shouldn't say never. But
you could be.
I'm always impressed.
Yeah.
by folks like you who are taking that on.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. So I want to back up a little bit because we touched a couple different points in your life. But going back to when you were a little bit younger, did you have a dream of becoming something when you were a kid? Was it a triathlete? Like, how did that world work?
Yeah, I definitely, I grew up as a swimmer and did track when I was a kid, played soccer, obviously just loved sports, love, watching the highest levels of sports and the athletes compete and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, definitely there was always a dream and kind of a desire to like go to the Olympics. For me, it was always the Olympics. And so, yeah, I was fortunate enough to kind of where I'm from, there's kind of just a big culture and I guess legacy of Olympic athletes and high performance athletes. It's a big hub kind of, I guess, in the South Vancouver Island.
Sure.
There's a lot of national training centers for different sports like rowing and swimming and triathlon and diving. Like there's just, you're kind of surrounded by it. And so it's definitely my belief that if you have those kind of folks in your orbit, it becomes tangible, it becomes real. And, fortunately for me, I started racing, it would have been like very early 2000s, maybe even 1999, I don't know, around there. But right then was when, a Canadian guy, Simon Whitfield, won the first Olympic gold medal in triathlon. And he lived, 2-3 hours south of me. So there's a lot of factors that I think led to me, choosing triathlon and stuff. And that was a huge, huge part of it because of this culture of excellence, really, in sport. That was so close.
For sure. Do you think, when it comes to your parents, like, were they into sport and did they help push you in that direction?
Yeah, I think, my dad definitely was like more of an athlete in high school and stuff. I think he was the captain of his like rugby team or whatever. And when I started triathlon, I think my dad was also kind of dabbling in them as well. So we'd actually go to these races as like a family, and my brother and I and my dad would do some of these races together. But I think just because I was just very self-motivated to train and to go out and run and bike ride on my own and stuff. And so my parents, they kind of just tried to foster that because I think they knew that if my energy was in that direction, good things would happen. If my energy went in, different ways, maybe some not good things would happen.
Sure.
So I think they just supported me as much as they could when I was young. And honestly, without their support, it definitely wouldn't have made it to the Olympics or any high level, achievement in sport.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm curious, have you had in your journey any kind of distractions or something that was competing with the journey or the desire to compete in triathlon as a professional?
I guess when I was younger, like again, like this whole culture of high performance sports, like I went to a high school, where there was like Olympians had come out of and it was almost like a sports school. So I never had like too much pull in like the other direction. I was always, in a high performance training environment at the National Training Center in Canada. Just over the years, you have setbacks, you have a lot of injuries, and maybe I got my funding I got cut from the national team for a couple of years, I think a year and a half or so, because I wasn't performing because I was getting injured. And so there's just setbacks like that you have to overcome. And like I was just so determined. I knew that I hadn't been reaching my potential, and so that kind of got me through. But then before the Olympics, I was training in an environment that it was a very toxic environment with the coach at the National Training Center in Canada at the time. And I had to step away from that environment, about a year or so out from the games in Tokyo. And that was really hard because I lost all my support from Triathlon Canada. I had no funding, really. I had like the government support because they couldn't touch that, but if they could have touched that, they would have taken it away from me.
Wow.
And so I had to create my own environment, which it wasn't, necessarily a terrible thing. But obviously I became someone that they didn't want to succeed. And so there's a lot of roadblocks there, but I was the right person to be on the Olympic team, and I was able to overcome that and get on the team and do my best to help, Triathlon Canada and Canada, really. I was not really competing for Triathlon Canada at that stage. I was more, thinking of my country. trying to help them win a medal. But yeah, we went through this big process. I had to file a complaint against the coach at the time because
Wow.
of the toxic environment for that I was dealing with, but many other athletes were, and eventually he ended up leaving, which was the right outcome. It was the just outcome, and thankfully now with Triathlon Canada, they're just in a lot better position, where the athletes are treated a lot more fairly. There's less. I don't know if the word nepotism is the right term, but
Sure.
favoritism maybe. It just seems like the athletes, if they're performing, they get opportunities, and if they're not, you find a way to try and get those opportunities. But which is just a lot better than it was, a few years ago. So that was a very successful outcome as well.
For sure. Sounds like you've been through quite a bit. I sense a little bit of an emotion.
It's all relative, right? Other people have been through
Sure.
lots of hell their own ways. My good friend Kevin McDowell, he had to deal with cancer in his journey to eventually winning a medal for Team USA. So we all have to deal with our own adversity, and you kind of found out what you're made of when you deal with it. That's it. It's a test, I guess.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've ever exceeded your own personal expectations, whether that be a race or an instance that you've kind of gone through?
Yeah, I don't know if deep down I'm the most talented athlete. I definitely work hard.
Sure.
I would say probably my pragmatism has helped me in my career as finding opportunities and making the most of them. I think when I've been healthy and competing at, as well as I can, I think I've been performing as well as I can. I probably outperformed other athletes who are more talented, who have trained harder than me, but maybe they showed up sick. Maybe they got injured because they couldn't, they were just training so hard, kind of thing. So,
Right.
I feel like in my short course career, I definitely performed to my ability. Maybe I missed out on, some opportunity. Maybe for the Olympics, for example, I didn't go as my own, competitor. I went to help Team Canada win a medal. We had a guy, Tyler Misselchuk. He was the obvious favorite to win a medal. We had a strategy that won the Olympic test event, 2 years before.
Yeah.
So I was happy to do that because I know what it's like when you win a medal, and especially in Canada. It's a big fucking deal. And so,
Yeah.
it's I was happy to do that because it's more of a legacy thing for me. But if say I only trained for myself for the Olympics, realistically, with the way the course was, the conditions were, if I had ideal prep, perfect prep, the best I could have done personally, maybe a top 12. So
Is that just because your speed, you didn't have?
That's because I think my physiology, bit of a taller guy. I don't know, it's a hotter race. So I'm a bigger athlete. Probably favors smaller athletes a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. So for me, that's kind of my upper bound. But obviously, if I could help, a Canadian win a medal, that's bigger than me. It's more important than me, and I'm happy to do that. It's just obviously with Triathlon Canada leading into that, definitely didn't feel like part of the team.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk me through that a little bit. First of all, how do you deal with that? And then was it just a bad experience you had this guy one time, and then he just oh, I can't stand Matt? Because that's really tough. I don't even know what I would do.
Yeah, I think, with this coach, it was built up over time. And then, I think he just wasn't happy with me or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know if he had other personal stuff going on that maybe we don't know about.
Sure.
I don't need to speculate.
Sure.
But it just got to this point where, it was a very hostile environment. It was a very toxic environment for me and other athletes. And I knew if I wanted to actually achieve my goal of getting to the Olympics, I had to take myself out of that environment. So that was really hard, but ultimately it was the right thing to do. And then, eventually we saw a good outcome from that. So that was super, super positive.
Yeah. Forgive me for not knowing, because when I was doing research, I was only searching your name, and I looked at your placing and stuff. But did Canada win a medal?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Tyler, the athlete who I was there to help, he was, I think he was a bit injured going into it, which is unfortunate, but that's, competing at the highest level. Some days you're there, some days you're not.
Sure.
Even if he didn't have the day, I still don't regret my decision to, be a domestique and help, because if it had worked out, I just know how huge that is for a country like Canada. So for me, it didn't matter necessarily what he did on the day, as long as I did my job. And I did my job as best I could that day. Unfortunately, I don't think I was actually as fit as I needed to be, and that was also out of my control a little bit as well.
Yeah, man, what a journey! Wow. So I want to come back to the games here in a second, but I have kind of a stupid question, and I sort of know the answer to this, but not enough, and I did that on purpose. So for a lot of Americans, we don't really know a ton about what the Commonwealth Games are. So could you unpack what is the Commonwealth Games and how did you get involved with those?
Yeah. So Commonwealth Games, in a nutshell, it's basically, it used to be called the British Empire Games, I think originally. So that's literally what it was. It was all these countries: Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, a lot of African countries, Caribbean countries, India, Canada. The Commonwealth is what it's called. And I think maybe post World War One, the first edition happened, and it was just a way for the British Empire to keep its stronghold or keep influence over these other countries and all that kind of stuff. And so and it's funny because for triathlon, it's actually a very competitive event. A lot of great countries, Great Britain, obviously, Australia, New Zealand, are featured in the Commonwealth Games. And so maybe some sports it's a little bit weaker than the Olympics, but for Commonwealth Games, triathlon is very competitive at the top end for sure.
Yeah. Nice. And then you competed in the Commonwealth Games. Is it every year or is it every several years?
Every 4 years.
Same as Olympics. Okay.
Yeah, so I went in 2014. That was in Glasgow in Scotland. And then in 2018, that was on the Gold Coast in Australia. And that Gold Coast Commonwealth Games, that was an incredible experience. I mean, Australians, they know how to put on a sporting event. And it was incredible atmosphere there. And it was a world-class event. Unfortunately, I think Commonwealth Games is the last little while, it's really gone through some rough patches. The host, place that was supposed to host 2026, they just bowed out.
Wow.
There's no replacement for that. So 2026 Commonwealth Games are not looking great. So I think as, this whole British Empire has kind of lost its relevancy, I think the Commonwealth Games are struggling with that as well. And, it's like the Olympics, right? The Olympics has had a hard time finding Winter Olympic host cities. It hasn't been easy to find just Olympic host cities because of, the not certain return on investment. And I think with the Commonwealth Games, they could actually keep doing it. But they really need to find a way for these host cities and regions to see a tangible benefit.
Yeah.
I mean, sidebar, Victoria, the city that I kind of grew up in, they hosted the Commonwealth Games in 1994, and a lot of the sporting, infrastructure that was left behind, it created, so many Olympic medalists and stuff. So there's a huge benefit that way. But I can see why, folks see the price tag of these events, these major games, and are like, we don't want that. Like, we got to pay for all the potholes in the roads. Like, I get it.
Yeah, it's huge. Do you know, I know in the Olympic Games, a lot of times cities end up losing quite a bit of money. Is it always kind of been the same thing with the Commonwealth Games?
I don't know figures on like revenue and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think some games do a better job than others of, keeping things tight in terms of finances and whatnot. And some Olympics, I know, they don't always lose money, but generally they do. I think like LA in 1984, they made a big profit.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll be looking to do that again in a few years' time.
Yeah. Fun.
That's America. They'll find a way to make a profit out of it for sure.
That's capitalism at its finest for sure.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah. Do you have dual citizenship?
So I'm working on my green card right now,
cool.
Which is why I'd love to race 70.3 Worlds coming up, and I'd love to be in Paris supporting Kirsten for her Olympic test event, but I don't think I can't leave technically right now. Otherwise,
really?
The immigration won't be too stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, tough times. So let's go back to the Olympic Games a little bit. That's such a huge thing that obviously a lot of us can experience only from our TV screens. What was it like, first of all, finding out that you had the opportunity potentially to be on the team, being on the team, and then competing at that level?
Yeah, I think, those 4 years leading into Tokyo, I guess 5 years because it got postponed, I always knew I was in kind of the driver's seat in terms of going, as long as I stayed healthy and performed at a high enough level. Because there's, in Canada, there's just not as much depth as like Australia or whatever.
Sure.
And I was a mature enough athlete that I'd have lots of experience. So for me, it was always it was never like whoa, this is crazy if I make it. It was always kind of like, yeah, you need to do a good job and you're probably going to be going. And from, a couple of years out onwards, I knew my path was to be kind of this like team athlete, which again, I never really had a problem with at all. So yeah, we practiced that at the Olympic test event in Tokyo, and Tyler ended up winning the race. We absolutely nailed that,
Awesome.
which was awesome. That was an incredible, and it's nice, you've raced well on the course, you've had success. So obviously that's a super confidence booster.
Yeah, huge.
Going into the real thing. When the Olympics were postponed, that was pretty hard. Obviously you have plans and they don't going to plan or whatever. That's very difficult mentally. But then obviously there's a lot of other stuff going on at the time that, put things in perspective. Not,
Sure.
doing a triathlon wasn't really a huge deal at the time.
Yeah.
When all that was going down with COVID. So when we realized that, we were probably going to compete the next year, it was easy to get back into the headspace of, hey, I need to just, again, stay on the right path, stay healthy. There's, I don't know what the concept, I don't know if I have the right name, but it's called like the goal gradient concept or something. Okay. And it's like basically like the closer you are to a goal, almost like the harder you work to get there because it's so close. So for me, I always knew the Olympics was close, and so I never had like a huge dearth in motivation to get out there because I kind of knew by and large I was going to have a really good chance of being on that team. And then once I was there, very different vibe with the, the health measures that they had. We were wearing masks everywhere. At a race, we had no spectators really.
Yeah, that's tough. It seems like that would be like a big kill of joy.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things for me with that, I mean, obviously, I would still take that over no Olympics, hands down.
Sure.
Like, give me COVID games, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it would have been nice to have like, honestly, for my parents, because of their support over the years and just how, much of my life was dedicated to this and their lives and helping me. It would have been nice to have them there to see me race in person and just to be a part of that. And they didn't get that. And that's always kind of hard to, that's just hard because, I know how much they've helped me and you want to reciprocate that. Right. Obviously they don't really care, but to me, that was a hard part of it for sure. But they did get to watch, and ultimately they get to watch me compete at the highest level and achieve my dream. Yeah.
Man, that's huge. So how old are you?
I'm 32. Yeah, just turned 32.
Okay.
That's that sounds weird to say, but here we are. Yeah.
I'm about to turn 31 next month, and it is a wild thing. Yeah.
And now we're just like, it's not even like 30 anymore, where you're like, oh, damn, 30. Now it's just like, oh, 32. Okay, we're on the march to 40.
Age.
Like, that's it, hey?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I woke up on my 32nd birthday, and my neck was a little sore, so I don't know, maybe that's just a thing.
Yeah, you just had a birthday recently, you said?
I was like late July.
July.
Somewhat recently, yeah. So, it's a little more sore, got to stretch a little more, all that good stuff.
Do you do strength training?
I kind of do. I actually, for the next kind of bit, I'm going to focus a little bit more on some strength work. Just being at that PTO race and observing the physiology of my competitors, it's like, ooh, these guys, they got some legs, and I could use more leg. So
yeah,
that's going to be a focus for me, I think, in the next little while for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll talk about the PTO US Open in a second, just because that's so fresh.
Yeah.
But how long have you been married?
Yes, we got married May 28th, 2022. So just, over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was nice. We got married back in Canada, back where I'm from, Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the best day of my life for sure.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. And yeah, it just like, I just smile thinking back to, that day, and yeah, just having everybody there. It was amazing. It was, it was incredible.
How long were you engaged?
2020, December 2020. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like a couple of years. We kind of like got engaged and then kind of dialed in wedding location and stuff pretty quickly right before it got kind of crazy.
Insane.
Post-COVID. I think it's kind of slowed up now, but like that kind of 2022 time frame, it just wild with venues and vendors and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure your podcast listeners love talking about this stuff and hearing this stuff.
No, man. Hey, I am here. I think people are interested in it because it's a little bit more mundane. Because most of the triathlon podcasts out there, it's like, hey, man, so how you training? What's your FTP? What's the science?
Yeah.
I want to dive into the little bit of the backstory. I think it's super interesting. So I want to ask one more question with that. How did you meet your wife?
Yeah, we actually met. We were both triathletes at the time, and we were training in South Africa.
Cool.
In a place called Stellenbosch, which is like just outside of Cape Town a bit. It's kind of like one of the big training places for athletes in South Africa. Beautiful spot. Definitely recommend going there. But we were both there training, and actually kind of funny. We were on a bike ride because I had a friend, my friend Kevin McDowell, who, there's a few U.S. athletes. He was there. Actually, Chelsea Burns was on that ride, the PTN personality, Chelsea Burns. So it was a high-powered group for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, so we went on a ride, and then at the end, I ended up rolling beside Kirsten. We were riding together, and we were just chatting, and it was funny. She was like, "Oh, like you're Canadian. Like, where are you from in Canada?" And I kind of like naively assumed, most Americans wouldn't know, Victoria. Just because Canada, whatever, it's not like it's not like Toronto or anything.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's on the west. I said it's on the West Coast. Like, you probably won't know where it is. And then she kind of gave me this little side eye, and she's like, "Try me. I'm from Canada." And I was like, So somehow I recovered from that, but yeah, that was a pretty funny meeting / intro conversation, because actually Kirsten, she originally grew up in Ontario, Canada, and moved down to the US when she was 14, and she's been competing for them ever since.
Yeah. How's her journey? I mean, she's getting ready for I guess it sounds like the trials.
Yes, yeah. So she had a crazy intro into the sport, like where I grew up doing triathlon. Like I literally started doing it when I was 10. She did her first race, I think, like in college or after college. She was a part of this like college recruitment program from USA Triathlon, which was very successful. Incredible program. She was a part of that, and I think her third race was like U23 World Championships, and she finished in 4th.
Wow.
Which I had never even close. I'd been to training all my life. I'd never even touched a result like that. So she had a very kind of meteoric rise into the sport, and has been competing at the highest level essentially ever since. She's been the alternate the last 2 Olympics, so Rio and Tokyo. Now she's really gunning for that spot in Paris. And it's very competitive. The U.S. women are the best in the world, like depth-wise for sure. But she's definitely rounding into form at the right time, and I've observed her a lot, racing over the years, and she's very much a competitor. So you get her on the start line healthy enough, she'll be up there battling. So I'm really excited for this Paris race coming up for her, and then there's another big race in the grand final in Pontevedra, Spain afterwards. She's definitely coming into form in the right time, which is super exciting.
That's super exciting. How is how old is she?
She's same age. She's turning 32 end of August 31st.
Okay.
Can't forget that. That'd be bad.
Yeah, that would be bad. Write those things down. Put them in your calendar.
Yes, yeah. I'd say
a 1 week reminder.
Alarms.
Yeah. Oh, that's super exciting. So with having, I've talked to a few people who have like relationships within the sport. Has that proved to be more? I don't want to kind of put you out, but has it been more beneficial over time? Have there ever been like tough times where you're focused on you versus she's focused on you, or do you guys balance pretty well? Like, how does that go?
I think we balance pretty well. I can't think of a really like tough time where like, yeah, I don't know. I think because of our personalities, just generally, we're both pretty laid back people. So I don't think I think it's been a net positive really because man, it's just such an all consuming sport.
Oh yeah.
But if you understand what's going on and the demands, then you can kind of step in, like for me, like I'm pretty good cook, so Kirsten, she's doing other things that are helping me when I'm kind of cooking or whatever. So we definitely have a good, I guess, like we play off each other well that way, where like and honestly, like the demands on training and all that kind of stuff, like we're so tired like from training a lot of the times. Like I can't imagine having to then like get G'd up and to go out or whatever, like if you got a partner who's living in a different world.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me it's only been a good thing, and it's only been like super super good.
So
you understand the demands and everything and what someone's going through, so there's a lot of empathy that way too.
yeah, for sure. So it sounds like a good night on the town is more of a night in compression boots watching your favorite movie, like
a lot of Netflix, all that good stuff, because and that's perfectly fine. Usually you're pretty tired anyways, so
yeah,
that's again like you don't feel pressure to have to like do something
Sure.
that might compromise your recovery or whatever. You're all in on that, so it's been really good that way.
Yeah, that's super neat. So how many hours a week do you typically train?
Yeah, it's funny. For me, I definitely train a lot less than I did when I was focusing on short course racing, which is ironic because now I race long course. But with the tempo, honestly, part of my day-to-day stuff is more helping Kirsten with her journey to get to Paris and stuff. So for me, I'm definitely getting a pretty good ROI for my time. I would say like maxing out like 16 to 18 hours a week, if that. Just a lot of quality, not a lot of just riding around and running around.
Yeah.
I definitely, I would benefit probably from more hours, but then I wouldn't be able to help Kirsten as much. I wouldn't be able to, do the tempo and have the success we're having with it. So it's like anything in life, there's trade-offs.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. That's not something to mull over. The fact that you just competed in the PTO US Open, and I mean, you did Oregon, right? Did you do Maine as well? Maine.
Yeah,
okay.
Maine, my favorite race.
Yeah, man, that's tough. So I've talked to a bunch of people about that, my coach included, about like the whole rule with the zipper, and people stand kind of on both sides of the line. I think everyone agrees that it's a stupid rule.
Yes,
and then
I think people, it's like people are like sticklers for rules, and they're like, it's a rule, like you got to stick to it. It's like, yes, I definitely should have known that for sure. It's just, does the punishment fit the crime? Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I mean, if I'm drafting a ton, give me disqualification.
Yeah,
if I'm taking outside assistance, if I'm cheating, the cut in the course, disqualify me. That's garbage. Get that shit out of here. But having an unzipped zipper, especially when it's not even the unzip part. It's because the zipper is unclasped. Whereas if my zipper couldn't technically unclasp, but it's in the fully unzipped position, you're still good. Like, it's just the technicalities around it.
Doesn't
and
make
also
any sense.
The wording of the rule is incredibly vague and ambiguous. So that's why I'm appealing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have there been success in the past with appealing those types of things? And
No clue. I really don't expect to win or anything, but if I think I can make a strong enough case, I'm appealing it to USA Triathlon as well, not Ironman. And USA Triathlon, I think we'll see. It's a tough road that way, but if maybe we can, get some kind of changing to the wording of the rule, where it's like explicit, like if your thing is fully unzipped, no matter what, you get a disqualification, or they just say like, hey, we're going to get rid of this rule because it's kind of silly. Whatever. It's just like the fact that there's ambiguity in it. There's a lot of opportunity where it's a should instead of like explicit, like this is
must.
Needs to be done or whatever. So we'll see. I'm gonna, Law 101. We're putting that into action.
Oh man. What did happen? Did you just forget? Like, did it come undone during the race and you just?
No, like honestly, I guess I forgot, or I just didn't even totally know. And I'm pretty sure even somebody said like, oh, they said at the briefing. So like, I just wasn't paying attention, and that's totally on me. Like, I should
Yeah.
know to zip it up. It's just hard when also like you see so many countless finishing photos of people with their thing unzipped.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's just like, how does this make sense? But
Yeah.
we're gonna fight it. We're gonna see if we can get some kind of result or something.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like with this whole, I was talking about, trying to, deal with that coach and see some justice.
Right.
At the end of the day, if it didn't work out, I still would have been, happy to have gone through that process. And this is the same thing. I still want to go through the process, be heard. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But as long as I
Yeah.
have that opportunity, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man. So with getting into the US Open, how did that happen? And was it like did they feel bad? Were they like, hey, we want you here? Or did someone drop out? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, no. I mean, I'd been hitting them up for like quite a while in advance, and obviously, at the time
Sure.
they had pretty full start lists with some marquee athletes, and this is classic with PTO. Like, usually guys start dropping like flies, maybe like 2 to 3 weeks out. So I just kept hitting them up, hitting them up, and they're like, oh, we're still full, blah blah blah. And then, kind of like as we got even closer, like this, like literally after the race in Maine, obviously I was very upset. So I emailed them again, and I was like, hey, I'm ready. And I kind of got like a very polite no, but then yeah, I don't know. I don't know the full story, but there was maybe a conversation at some bar in Milwaukee on Monday night, and then Tuesday morning, I had an email from PTO being like, "Hey, if you want to come, like you're on." And for me,
Sounds expensive.
yeah, well, it was actually not too bad, really, all things considered. Like, for me to, if I get that call, I'm answering it. Like, I'm going, because I thrive in those kind of championship environments, like Olympics and world championships and stuff. I don't know. I love competing on the biggest stage and having
Sure.
all eyes
It
on
doesn't-
us. It's something I really thrive on, and it's not something I really have the opportunity to have anymore. Just with the fractured nature of long course racing. So yeah, I was like, yep, hell yeah, I'm going. I got the email Tuesday morning. Tuesday night, I was in Milwaukee and getting ready for racing 5 days after I'd done a very hard 70.3.
Yeah. Like, how did you feel race day? Like, take us through that. Because first of all, the race videos just from all the different channels out there, it looked so neat. What was that experience like?
Man, it was sick. So last year I raced at the US Open in Dallas, and Dallas isn't a bad place, but just the way like the venue was and how hot it was, like there's
So
nobody, there's no spectators out there, there's no athletes, racers or whatever. So the atmosphere was pretty dead. Whereas in Milwaukee, obviously the temperatures were a lot more pleasant, and
Yeah.
the fact that they had it at the same time as this USA Triathlon National Championships, that was the key kind of component, I think, was partnering with the USAT to have this huge pro race alongside the biggest age group race for those distances in the world, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So, I've raced at a lot of high level, world championship races. For me, that was one of the best atmospheres I've ever raced in.
That's
and you're not
nice.
going to get anything better. I guess maybe Kona's like that. I really don't know. But in terms of like, when we were lined up on the start, you look behind you and there was just fans lined up behind you.
So cool.
Along the whole swim venue, fans along the whole swim venue. Like I could hear people cheering for me when I was swimming. I've never had that in a long course race.
Yeah.
I've had that a few times in short course racing. Hamburg, notably, which is like the best spectator course for short course triathlon. So yeah, it was just an incredible atmosphere. So, and I don't know, I just love Milwaukee. Like I got hyped on Milwaukee when I was there. I was like checking out Zillow, like, oh, what's the situation here?
Yeah. Looking at properties.
I
Gonna
was
get
like,
some
"Oh,
investment
well,
deals.
what's it like?" And yeah, very reasonable. Nice little town. Shout out Milwaukee. Yeah, no, it was an incredible atmosphere, and yeah, definitely getting that opportunity to race the PTO. I was like, I need to go. I need to be here.
Yeah.
And I knew because I had the same experience last year where I raced 70.3 Santa Cruz, got on the podium there, didn't get DQ'd, lol. And then 7 days later, or 6 days later, whatever it was, raced in Dallas, and that was brutal. Like, obviously the weather was brutal in Dallas, but I just got absolutely shelled. This year, I definitely, even after a hard 70.3, I definitely held my own better relative to the competition. Like, I was looking at the data after, and in Dallas last year, I got 15 minutes rode into me. So I was 15 minutes slower than the fastest bike split in Dallas last year. And this year, I think Ditlev rode 6 minutes faster than me. So, like, that's a huge improvement. And I actually came off the bike last year in Dallas, came off the bike. I was like, damn, so stoked I didn't get lapped out. This year I came off the bike. I was like, oh, damn, I'm in the race. Let's go. But definitely racing 5 days before, not ideal. If I was preparing for PTO, I would have trained differently.
Well, it's hard to do, right? Because it's not super easy to get in that early. Like, obviously, you got
to be a top dog to have the comfort of knowing you're racing. So for me, I don't know if I'll ever get that chance, but I'm never going to say no to a PTO start, regardless. But like I came off the bike in Milwaukee, and I was in the race, and I was like, hey, let's do this. And I think I made some pacing errors, but the fatigue from Maine, combined with I lost some nutrition on the bike in Milwaukee. I needed everything to go perfect to get like a top 15. I needed everything to go perfect, and not everything went perfect. So that's just the way it was. But definitely performed better, way better relative to last year.
Yeah. What place you end up coming in?
I was 22nd this year. I was like, top 20 is definitely doable. And I think if I'd made better choices in my pacing on the run and had the full fueling that I planned, I think I could have been there. Like, the wheels just totally came off with like 3 laps of 5 to go, and that's too much. Too much time.
Tough. Yeah. So,
it was I definitely don't regret going. Definitely super glad I went because it was such an incredible experience. And I love racing at the highest level. I'll never say no to that.
Yeah. So are you emailing the PTO about any of the other races this year?
Well, I would love
Singapore
to go and race the next one, but I still can't leave the U.S. That's my problem.
Oh, that's right.
I'm stuck in the U.S. So I kind of that's my limit this year for sure. But hopefully next year I would love to be on the circuit. Although it's definitely tougher for someone like me who isn't a marquee athlete. It just, and that's the reality, and I understand that from their position. So you either get good enough where you get those automatic spots, or you beg and you find a way that way. But I'm never going to say no.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate the transparency. I had no idea how it really worked, so it's interesting to know that. 2 questions. First question. Like
if I was an athlete who, I think if you like said, hey, I'm flying to, Singapore, like if I could fly to Singapore, like I would probably get a start, because there's probably going to be 3 or 4 guys who are on the start list right now who aren't going to be there. There's just that kind of stuff that you could probably, finagle your way onto the start line.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have to pay for the PTO races like a professional? You do? Yeah,
so they obviously pay very well, and they pay, every person who starts gets paid to show up and compete or whatever. But at the moment, they're not covering your flights and accommodation, all that kind of stuff. Which, I think they're going to need to rethink their strategy on maybe that, just because, as a fan of the sport, taking my self-interest away, I want to see the best athletes there. I want to see, all the top PTO 20 athletes. Like, they should want to be there too. So it was kind of disappointing when, see athletes going and racing in some European 70.3, like, you got to be at the PTO, especially if you're a top dog. Like, you got to be there. I think they need to find a way to incentivize more people, maybe not top 5 athletes, but to incentivize them to be there to make it the best possible race. I think they can do it. I think they need to. I don't know the economics of the PTO. They haven't given me the spreadsheets or anything. But if I was in charge, I would definitely try and incentivize. Definitely make sure that those top 20 or 30 or whatever, and maybe athletes who are outside those positions, but who bring a, you know, maybe they're Uber bikers and they change the dynamic of the race that way. Like, it's all about entertainment.
Yeah.
So
Blow it up.
blow it up. Exactly. You gotta find a way to make those people want to come. But I think, you know, next year it sounds like they're gonna have 6 or 7 races. I think they're gonna tighten up on the athletes who are committed to the PTO. I talked to the CEO and I asked him that question, and he basically said, "Yeah, we're gonna have a different way about that next year." And I don't know what that means because he didn't tell me, but they're working on it.
Yeah. Did you meet the CEO while you were there in Milwaukee?
I met him, I think, in Edmonton last year at the Canadian Open. But yeah, I had a brief chat with him just because I wanted to pick his brain. You know, you got when you got in the room like that, you got to take advantage.
Yeah, for sure, man. Oh yeah, I've been trying to pull every string I have. So I got to interview Vic Brumfield, the CEO of USAT, last week. And I was like, hey, can you introduce me to everyone, like the CEO of Ironman and PTO? She was kind enough to forward my email onto all of them. So we'll see what happens. So I will ask those questions for you.
Yeah, she strikes me as doing a very solid job right now with USAT.
She's working super hard.
Yeah, she definitely is doing a very good job, and you can tell. I mean, in Milwaukee, I wasn't there the whole weekend, but there was a great atmosphere. It just seemed like all the events took off without a hitch. Like, it just seemed like the vibes. I'm just going off vibes, and the vibes were good.
No, yeah, that's huge. That's huge for branding, huge for everything.
Yeah,
it really is. That's so cool. As far as like the races that you enter, are professionals, do they get any type of discount, or do they have to pay? Do you have to pay to enter these races? Like for
Ironman, you do pay. It's definitely less than a typical like 70.3 or whatever. But you can also so with Ironman, you can either purchase a one race thing, or you can buy I think it's you pay $1,200 and you can race unlimited races. So it depends what your race focus is. For me, I just do one at a time because I don't really know what my race schedule is. But yeah, you do have to pay to play for sure. But it's a business. Yeah, no. People love to shit on Ironman, but it's this is a business. So
they give a good experience, I will say. I mean, from the pro side, I heard it's a little bit different, obviously, in the age group stuff because we're the ones who are giving them the money. But what is the discount, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know. A 70.3 is $250, where I think
so it's half.
It's half, yeah.
Yeah, they just raise.
Which I think is why some people race pro. Maybe they're not training as a full professional, but if you race pro, it's definitely cheaper, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It's embarrassing how much I just spent to do the Worlds in New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
And they get you excited. They're like, "You made it! Now come pay me $1,000."
Yes, but I will say, New Zealand, you will not regret going there.
Yeah.
If you haven't been, incredible place. Yeah, it'll be an amazing experience for sure. It definitely the money is something, but it's an incredible spot.
Yeah. Are you gonna try to make it to that race next year?
Definitely, yeah. I'll take any excuse to try and get back to New Zealand because it's cool. It reminds me of Canada a lot too, so I kind of like that.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I'm super excited. I got the whole family taking a trip for. They're gonna do our Christmas thing out there that year. So
good. That'll be amazing. Yep, it's gonna be 100% worth it. Calling it right now. No regrets.
Sweet. So I have a couple more questions before we kind of wrap up. So this next question is a little bit of a personal one. You may not have exactly an answer for it, but I was talking a while back with Greg Bennett just about the identity of athletes and how they identify with themselves, and from someone like you starting off at 10 years of age all the way up until 32, that's more than the grand majority of your life. How do you relate to that? Do you ever think about how you might identify post triathlon and how that might affect you?
Yeah, I think as time has gone on, I definitely have been okay, what's this? What do I look like? What does this look like? After post high performance sport, and I'm always going to identify as an athlete. That's never going to go away.
Sure.
That's just who I am. But in terms of what I'm doing and whatnot, I guess I'll always want to just do things at the highest level I can, with the resources I have, and so I'll always kind of have that identity. I guess ultimately, I don't know what I'm going to do after this. Maybe the tempo, who knows? But maybe something else. But I'll always kind of carry that, I guess, athlete mindset into what I'm doing, and that'll never go away. But it's more obviously I won't be super fit.
Yeah.
So there's that, I guess, to deal with. But
Yeah.
also there's opportunity in everything, and I'll find lots of other opportunities that I can't do as a high performance athlete. So there's a lot of positives that way. It's not like a, oh no, it's like a, oh hey kind of situation.
Yeah, for sure. Cool,
Yeah.
man. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for answering all my questions and taking the time out of your day. I know you got a lot going on. The best of luck for your wife, Kristen or Christy? I'm so sorry.
Kirsten.
Kirsten. Okay.
Yeah.
Best of luck to Kirsten. We'll be looking forward to her.
Thank
And
you.
we'll make sure to link the Tempo News in here to share that
Awesome.
out to everybody and continue to grow it. But yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for taking my stupid being late and battery dying.
No, it's all good, man. It happens. It totally happens. Totally
Nice.
happens, man. No worries at all. Thank you so much for jumping in and listening to this episode with Matt Sharpe. Huge shout out again to Matt for his willingness to jump on and to share a little bit about the Tempo News, about his life journeys, about his marriage story. So many awesome things in there. If you want to check out the Tempo News, there is a link in the description as well, and you can go and check out that newsletter. Super awesome. Make sure to follow their Instagram as well. And then, thank you again to Trax for sponsoring this episode. You can find that stuff in the description as well. Thank you guys all so much for listening, and I will talk to you in the next one.